Hello, everyone. The lesson today focuses on child labor. You're going to do the following. You will analyze a PowerPoint and a set of multimedia videos relating to child labor. Now, the multimedia videos pertain information about modern day child labor, which is featured here. And in the PowerPoint, there are a series of videos relating to child labor during the Industrial Revolution. You're going to complete related activities on slides 11, 14, and 15 of the PowerPoint. But let's get to the PowerPoint right now. Presentation mode. The learning essential questions as follows. How did the Industrial Revolution impact child labor? Please pay attention to the visual images that you're seeing throughout the PowerPoint. The warm-up we'll do in class. Here is the historical context. Please follow along. During the mid-19th century to the early 20th century, the United States went through a rapid transformation from a rural, farm-based society to an industrial, urban society. One of the major effects of industrialization was there became an increased need for child labor. Children were employed in factories, mines, and other type of dangerous places. Any place where cheap labor was needed, children were employed. The use of child labor came with detrimental consequences to many of the children who had to work in what we would consider, by modern standards, horrible conditions. Today, in the United States, there are laws passed to protect children from being taken advantage of in the workplace. In other parts of the world, those same safeguards do not exist. As you look at this PowerPoint and you read the information, really look at the visuals to really consider your status in life versus to what happened in the past and what's going on in other parts of the world. Continuing. The impact on child labor. From the very beginning, factory owners looked to employ children to work in factories. They preferred children over adults for some of these following reasons. Some of those reasons are as follows. With child labor, you would get less complaints about the work compared to adults. The children that would complain were often beaten by overseers hired by the factory owners. Children had small, nimble fingers and toes, which made it easier for them to handle the intricate parts or pieces of machinery. Children as young as 6 years old during the Industrial Revolution worked hard hours for little or no pay. Children sometimes worked up to 19 hours a day with a 1 hour total break. This was a little bit on the extreme, but is not uncommon for children who worked in factories 12 to 14 hours, taking these type of minimal breaks. Not only were these children subject to long hours, but also they were in horrible conditions. Large, heavy, and dangerous equipment was very common for children to be using or working near. Many accidents happened in factories, injuring or killing children on the job. Not until the Factory Act of 1833 did things improve. Children were paid only a fraction of what an adult would get, and sometimes factory owners would get away with paying them nothing. Orphans were the ones subject to this slave-like labor. The factory owners justified their absence of payroll by saying that they gave the orphans food, shelter, and clothing. Okay, all of this would be considered below modern standards of living. Look at this photograph carefully. What would be considered dangerous about what these children were doing? Think about that. The following is an excerpt from an interview from a former child laborer. I was 11 years old when I went to work in the mill. They learnt me to knit. Well, I was so little that they had to build me a box to get up on to put the sock in the machine. I worked in the hosiery mill for a long time, and well, then we finally moved back to the country. But me and my sister Molly finally went back up there in 1910, and I went to work in the silk mill. Molly went to work in the hosiery mill. We worked 12 hours a day for 50 cents. When paydays came around, I drawed $3. That was for 6 days, 72 hours. I got paid 50 cents having enough money to pay my board. Child laborer. These are some images relating to child labor during the Industrial Revolution. Pay attention to some of these political cartoons and what they stand for. We're going to have a discussion about this. This slide is slide 11. There are a series of related images that I want you to look at. You simply click on this link, analyze the images, which are here. After you analyze these images, okay, really look at them. You could choose whichever ones you want to focus on. It is up to you. Okay? They all tell a story. They tell a story of child labor in the past and in modern times, and you'll be able to see both. I want you to then, in the box below, write down your observations and thoughts about the images. And moving on to the next slide, this is the link to the video which I told you about before about modern day child labor. But that's what we're going to do as a group activity if you attend the live meet. These are a series of related videos relating to child labor. Please analyze these videos. This tells about child labor during the Industrial Revolution. And this is the 3-to-1 child organizer. You're going to write down 3 observations you saw from the videos and the reading material, 2 questions you would have about modern child labor, and then an extended response. Do you think child labor is a necessary evil? Please write your perspective. This actually is an extension of this activity, okay? I want you to focus on the woman in the video, and this is from the first video about modern day child labor. She has a response about child labor, and I want you to respond specifically to what she says, okay? So this is our activity. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you very much.